be here.
The logical first question has to be, are you running for presidency? Would you accept a draft?
That's an illogical question. No, I'm not going to run for anything. I always say I'm running for my life. That's enough. No, politics isn't my business, my game, my profession. I like to say it's taken me 40 years to learn the car business, and I'm just getting the hang of it. To make a switch in midlife, I said, would probably bring on a midlife crisis. I'm not a politician.
Even if there was a draft, you would say absolutely no?
Drafts. There aren't any such things in this country. We have a good two-party system, and it works a certain way, and I'm sure that I won't have to worry about that.
When I listen to you speak, there's a great deal of criticism here and there of the Reagan administration. Do you vote as a Republican or as a Democrat?
Oh, I vote Democrat some years and Republican other years. My criticism has been that I think that some of the economic policies the last 4 or 5 years are going to come home to roost one of these days. The debt is too high, obviously. It's getting to the $2 trillion level. The interest on that alone has cracked the $150 billion a year mark. The trade deficits, I hope, will stop with this change in currencies, but at the moment it's getting worse. They say don't worry about it. Next year it'll turn around. I hope they're right. The fluctuations even in fuel prices. The uncertainties. We send our representatives down there to moderate these swings as best they know how, and they've done a pretty lousy job the last 4 or 5 years. And as a manager, a businessman, you can't plan on it. You can't plan on anything. They just are too volatile. So it makes it very difficult. And I would hope that we would get together. I think it's a good sign that President Reagan and all the other members of the major nations over in Tokyo are addressing these problems, trying to get their arms around them, and I wish them luck, because we've got to do it.
Let me ask you about the Statue of Liberty situation. How did that come about, that you lost your position there?
You got me. I don't know. I'm glad it's over. Probably some political motivation. I don't know. I've never found it out. Before I die, I'd like to find it out, by the way, but out of curiosity, if nothing else. But it hasn't gotten in the way of the fundraising. Yesterday we announced at our foundation meeting in New York, we cracked $252 million. So we got $13 million to go, so we'll surely go over the top. And it's well spent. The statue's finished, the island's finished. The celebrations will be wonderful. There'll be a great outpouring, I think, of love and patriotism and all those good things on the 4th. So this little squabble is behind us, and let's keep it there.
Well, let me just bring it back for 1 second. When you got news of it, what went through your mind? I mean, it shocked a lot of people because the statue...
It shocked a lot of people. It shocked the hell out of me. Are you kidding? I'd worked 4 years, and I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. And I don't know. It's difficult to ascertain exactly what happened and why it was done that way, but I got a wire. I wasn't even called that said I was taken off the commission because of an apparent conflict of interest, which, of course, since that time, everybody right up to the top denies that there's any conflict of interest. That has a bad connotation in Washington, you know. Conflict of interest means you have your hand in the till or something. So they've since corrected that, and it's blown over, and let the sleeping dog lie now.
But Mr. Iacocca may be a little bit still hurt by it, no?
Well, I was hurt terribly. For a month, I didn't eat well or sleep well. I mean, it was a jolt. It's un-American, I said, because you don't do things that way. You sit down and you reason things out. If they wanted to make any change for whatever reason, valid or not, they should have waited till July 5th. Why should they try to throw any kind of a pall over this great 100-year event? You know, it's crazy.
You say that when you come to Boston, you enjoy it because you have associations with Harvard and MIT, but you also mentioned the Joslin Clinic. What is your association with that clinic and diabetes and the research that goes on there?
Well, all the proceeds from my book go to diabetes research, and my wife, before she died of it, spent a lot of time at Joslin, and we got together with Joslin and now Harvard, and we set up a chair in my wife's memory, $1.5 million chair for pure diabetic research that will just get underway this year, and we're hopeful that we can just be a little part of finding the solution to this dreadful and insidious disease.
We all know that you have just recently gotten married, but your marriage was quite in contrast to the Shriver-Schwarzenegger marriage. Why did you choose a small one? Why not make a big public to-do?
I'm too public now. That's a private matter, and my wife died 3 years ago, and it's been a difficult time, and just thought I'd keep it on a very personal and private level. I'm going to have a big one like that big wedding up here with my daughter in Detroit in June. So we'll reserve the big bash for her.
Who is she marrying?
She's marrying a gentleman from New York, Ned Hentz, who is an advertising executive, and therefore they will take up residence in New York someplace.
Recently, in almost all the newspapers, Lee Iacocca was said, perhaps he didn't say it, but it was reported that he said that he really earns a lot of money, maybe even too much money. Want to comment on that?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's all relative, but most of the money we earn now is maybe rewards that come from the dark days when we were making nothing, by the way, and we gave a lot of stock out. In fact, the board gave me stock, but I gave a lot out to all of our employees because that's all I had to attract them in 80, 81. I couldn't pay them. There were no bonuses of any kind. So I gave them stock at about $6, and now it's 60, so that's the good old free enterprise system at work. If it had gone the other way, their paper would have been worthless. So I don't apologize for that, but it appears that some are making quite a tidy bit of money. Some would call them small fortunes by any standard. And I think it's good. I think that's why we get the best managers in the world attracted to Chrysler.
Let me ask a final question. Why would Lee Iacocca appear on Miami Vice and with Dr. Ruth?
Well, Miami Vice was sort of a lark. They said Michael Talbot on the show is sort of a fan of mine. He said he wrote me, and he found I was coming to Miami, so he said drop on the set, which I did. But when I got there, they threw me into a trailer and gave me 10 lines that I had to memorize. I'm used to cue cards, you see. And I probably messed them up for about 2 hours because I kept forgetting my lines. But my kids said it's another whole world out there, audience. Why don't you do it as a lark? And I did it for kicks, I guess. And I didn't need any more visibility on television, believe me. And on Dr. Ruth, President Reagan preceded me, and then I was on. This was the Association of Newspaper Editors, 700 of them in Washington. And preceding me was Dr. Ruth. So she was a speaker, and then I came on. That was just the luck of the draw, right?
Let me ask a final question, if I may. Of what in your life, personal, professional, across the years, are you most proud of, Lee Iacocca?
Oh, I don't know. I can't take one single thing. I'm proud of the Chrysler comeback. It was the results of a lot of people, not me. I was quarterback. A lot of good people in the company, dealers, even though 1,000 went bankrupt. They're not around to enjoy this. The pulling together of unions, of governments, all getting together and having an equality of sacrifice and finding it works. That's a great satisfaction to go through once in your life and have that come about.
And in a word, on a personal level, what are you most proud of?
My 2 daughters.